Hi everybody, welcome back. The surgery is done, it's over, and it was a success. I'll start by giving the details of the surgery, kind of like a little story time, how everything went, and then I'll go into the recovery piece and what our next steps are. If you don't already know me, I'm Jessica, I'm 32 years old, and I had a prophylactic double mastectomy due to a genetic mutation, and here on this channel I share everything throughout my journey from the mastectomy in the beginning to the reconstructive process now, and everything in between, so welcome. So if you watched the video before this one, you might know that I was scheduled to go in for surgery at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I had not yet made my decision as to whether or not we were going to go through with the fat grafting or just do the implant exchange and no fat grafting. So here's a picture of me after I had done all the little wipe down things that they make you do in the pre-op room, and I'm just waiting for my surgeon to come in at this point so that we can discuss the details of the actual surgery itself. Just a side note, during this time that you see here in the picture, I had the sweetest nurse, but I do think she was a little inexperienced, and she tried to stick me for the IV and missed, and it hurt like hell, and of course I have a nice big bruise to show for it there. So just a little side note from this pre-op experience here. So finally my plastic surgeon comes in and he breaks out his purple marker and he starts doing his drawings all over me, and he did have a resident with him as well, which was nice because I was listening to him kind of advise her as to what they were going to be doing during the surgery. And the first thing they started discussing was the size. So if you remember from my last video, we were thinking that I was going to be moving from 520 cc's up to maybe like 580, 600. But as he and the resident are talking, kind of involving me, not really, they start discussing 650s. And when I heard 650, I got a little scared because I started explaining to him that I'm really big in the gym, into fitness. I'm on this entire, muscle building journey right now, and the thought of having anything bigger than 630 kind of scared me because I just didn't want it to impact any of my exercise or fitness stuff later. So at that point, he tells me that 650s, even the 635s, might affect my ability to perform certain cardio activities like running, jogging, any kind of like CrossFit, which I'm not doing any of that. I'm strictly doing weightlifting right now, so we weren't too concerned about that. He and the resident, they do talk about the asymmetry that they saw. My left was a lot more droopier than my right, and he was explaining to her that of course we need to tighten the pocket on the left to make it rise up a little higher, and that by putting in the bigger implants, it'll help straighten out my mastectomy scars, which were a little crazy looking. And then there's a little dimple on the side of my right implant from where he had to do the skin removal, so he talked about doing some fat grafting there. Again, they're just like discussing all of this amongst themselves, and I'm just kind of standing there while they're drawing all over me, not really giving input. I'm more so just kind of soaking it all in, waiting for them to ask me for my input. So before I could even tell him that I didn't really want fat grafting, he starts explaining that looking at my lower belly here, I had a significant, I call it like my pooch. I had a C-section with my first daughter, and so some of that skin is like kind of hanging over. It doesn't matter how much weight I lose or how much muscle I gain, it's always there. And embarrassingly enough, one side of my little pooch is hanging lower than the other side, and it's really super noticeable. So he starts talking about if we do fat grafting, he can actually take fat from that hanging lower side of the pooch and inject it up into the breast, and then that would in turn even out my C-section shelf. So it's kind of like a 2-in-1, right? I get the C-section shelf a little more evened out, and I get the fat grafting up in the breast to help even those out. It's all happening very fast. Like they come in, they're just drawing, they're talking, and then it's like, boom, we gotta go. And it's a little overwhelming. So at one point I did say, I'm worried about this recovery with the fat grafting. If we just put the bigger implants in, and we don't do the fat grafting, am I gonna have an easier recovery? And he basically told me the fat grafting recovery is not that big of a deal. He said he would be taking such a small amount of fat that I wouldn't even need to wear a binder. So he really talked it up as if it was this great thing. He also talked about doing the liposuction in the armpits because I had a lot of skin hanging over from where he put the implants in. It lifted the breast up, so I had that skin hanging over, so he was going to lipo that, do a little lipo on the belly, and then he starts talking about how where he's planning to do the fat grafting in the belly. Aside from the C-section shelf, he's like, we're gonna take enough that you are gonna notice a difference, like you're gonna look great, and he's really pumping me up at this point. Then he tells me that this entire surgery, swapping out the implants and doing the fat grafting, is only going to take 45 minutes, and one of my biggest concerns about this whole thing was being under anesthesia. Even though I've done it before, the initial mastectomy, I did okay with it. I've had knee surgeries in the past, but it still freaks me out every single time. And so being under for longer, if it would have increased the time more than doing the fat grafting, increasing the time, I would have said no fat grafting. But when he said the entire thing was gonna be about 45 minutes, I was pretty much sold. He had pumped me up. He's talking about, the contouring of my stomach and the fat grafting in the breast, helping with this and that. So I was excited. So I basically just told him, do what you want, let's go. Let's put me under, let's get this done. Again, I didn't quite know what size we were going to be going with. He said that he was basically gonna put in different sizes while I was on the table and see what looked best and what looked the most proportionate, and that there was a possibility I could wake up with 650s, and there was also a possibility I could wake up with 580s. It really just depended on how my body looked with them. So sure enough, 45 minutes later, they wheeled me into recovery, and I took this really hilarious video that I do not remember taking.
Okay, surgery is over. I'm just coming out of the anesthesia. Out of it. They said everything went well. They gave me 635s. So big. We thought like 580, 600, 630, but they're 635s. Very sore in the armpit areas where they did the lipo. And hopefully going home in a couple hours. So I'll update when we get home.
The best part of this, no drains. That was a concern of mine. They thought that, they didn't think I was going to need drains, but he said it was a possibility, and I was very concerned about that. So woke up in recovery, no drains at all. It was at that point that I was told I was given 635 cc's, which was a little surprising because even though we had discussed it, I was like, oh, I kind of hope we stick around the 600 range. But he said 635, and then 100 cc's of fat grafting on top of that. So 100 cc's taken from my abdomen and put up into the breast. So if you just add the extra 100 cc's, I think my post-op notes said 50 per breast. So 635 cc's, still the high profile Mentor Boost brand, just like I had before. And a little side note too, I did find out from the resident that they actually keep the capsule that your body formed around the old implants. They keep that same capsule and they just put the new implants in. So I didn't have to worry about my body building a new capsule around these. I'm sure my body will add to the pre-existing capsule, but it's the same capsule in there. And then he did lipo the armpits as well, which I will say when I woke up from the anesthesia, I didn't really notice a lot of pain other than in that armpit area, which is funny because it's so minor compared to the giant amount of other things that I had done. But that was really the only thing that I noticed at the time. So of course I get home, the first thing I do is I run to the mirror and I look. Not gonna lie, they looked huge. They were gorgeous, they looked proportionate, I loved them. But they were huge. And of course, with the bruising and the swelling, it looks a little crazy. And by the way, another side note, if you ever wanna see any of my pictures, I have before and afters, and I have pictures that I'm covering my incisions, if that makes you queasy, versus ones that just show the incisions. And I am an open book. I am more than willing to share any of these photos with you. It's tricky on platforms like this with the videos because sometimes they get taken down. But messaging me on my Instagram, Wildflower Heart and Home, I send them through there just fine, and nothing's been kicked back or anything there. So if you ever want to see the pictures, they are all right there. But anyways, so I'm looking in the mirror, they look huge, they look gorgeous. I did know that the swelling would eventually go down, and he did say that the fat grafting only to expect about 45% to stick. So he did 100 cc's of the fat grafting, but we're only expecting about 45% of that to stay, especially because I'm very active and I'm in this fat loss stage of my life that it's just going to dissolve. Now I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to talk about the recovery this time around. Overall, this recovery has been a breeze compared to the mastectomy. The pain is honestly almost non-existent. There is soreness in the abdomen from where the fat was taken, and there's soreness in the armpits, but honestly, the breasts themselves, not bad at all. My incisions are beneath the breast, and he said it wasn't necessary, but I am wearing a binder. So this is just like a little Velcro binder that I wrap around me to provide some compression. When I'm not wearing the binder, I actually feel the soreness more. So if you've been to my TikTok or Instagram, I have tons of videos talking about this binder, and I've tried several different ones. This one is the cheapest and it's the best. One thing that I'm majorly noticing with the recovery too is, I know it might be hard to see here and you'll see it in the videos that I post within this video, but the bruising. So the bruising is pretty significant in the breast area where he did the fat grafting. No bruising on the abdomen yet. It could still come, but nothing yet. I'm actually just going to embed the videos here right now so you can see the recovery process from the moment I got home to today.
Well, we are officially home. We've actually been home for a while. We got home around 12, which is shocking. We actually got out of the hospital when they said. So surgery was at 7:15 and I was done by 8:30. It was like only an hour long. And then the recovery room, I had to stay for a while. The anesthesia made me super sick again, despite the fact that they put in the heavy duty drugs into the IV to help with nausea and gave me the Zofran afterwards. So far the nausea's been the worst part, even after getting home. I'm really just waiting for this to get out of my system, all the anesthesia. I'm very dizzy. I still feel very loopy, but it's so good to be home and not have to stay in the hospital overnight. I did take a peek. They look amazing. They did a phenomenal job. The incisions are beneath the breast, and actually my mastectomy scars already look 100 times better just from the bigger implants. They did put in 630 cc implants, so I went from 520s to 630s, which it sounds like a huge jump, but when I compared my before and after pictures, they just look a little more fuller now, which is exciting. They did do some fat grafting. That's probably the most painful part right now. They lipoed some little spots in my armpits, and then also took some fat from my lower belly. Tried to even up my little C-section pooch, which is nice. And then injected the fat up into the breast, so you can see the bruising is already starting, which is to be expected. But overall, great experience. I've pretty much just been sleeping since we got home, tried to eat, threw it up. So I'm hoping I can eat dinner tonight. I've already been fasting for almost 24 hours now because of needing to fast for the surgery. So hoping to get something in my belly, but I'll come back and update with any exciting revelations that occur over the next few days. Just a little day 2 update here. My throat, very raw and sore from the breathing tube. And today is much more painful than yesterday, I have to admit. A lot of the pain meds and stuff that they gave me I'm sure have worn off, and I've just been alternating the ibuprofen and oxy, like doing like a half every 4 to 6 hours, but I think we're gonna up it and not do the half anymore because I'm hurting. You can see the bruising is pretty crazy. But really the most painful part right now is the abdomen where they took the fat. Very sore, very tender, and I've just been kind of laying around all day. I'm able to eat now. The nausea has subsided. But yeah, just taking it easy and waiting on this recovery period to end. Day 3 post-op update. I know yesterday I had mentioned my throat being really sore and raw from the breathing tube. It's a lot better today, but I was thinking that my last surgery, the mastectomy, was like 3 hours long, so the breathing tube was in me for a lot longer, and I don't remember it bothering me as much afterwards. But my theory there is that because the pain of the mastectomy was so intense up here in the chest, maybe it distracted me from the pain in the throat, and now this time around I don't have that same kind of pain in the chest, so maybe I'm just focused more on the pain in the throat. Another thing that I'm noticing this time around that I did not notice last time is this awful taste in my mouth. It started right after I came out of the anesthesia. It has gotten better with each day, but it is like this plastic medical taste. It's like I'm eating a hospital. That's what it tastes like. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter what I do. Mouthwash, mints, eating, drinking, nothing is getting rid of it. It's actually making me kind of nauseous, but today is probably the first day where I don't notice it as much. My pain is definitely better today. The abdomen is still sore from the fat grafting, but I'm also not having the same nerve pain as before. So with the mastectomy, everything was really tight and I was getting these zings of pain because they had taken all my nerves out. But this time around, just swapping out the implants, I'm not getting that sensation at all. It's just the soreness in the abdomen and then the armpit areas. I think I mentioned before that my incisions are under the breast this time, and so it's actually very sore down there. I'm thinking that even though all my nerves were taken out with the initial mastectomy, I must still have some nerve endings down there because I definitely can feel where the incisions are, and it doesn't help that that's like right where the bra sits. My mobility has been excellent. I could probably reach my arms up to the sky right now if I was allowed to. which is a big difference from last time as well. It's actually a problem because I'm not supposed to be moving my arms much and I'm not supposed to be lifting them, but because I feel so great, I've noticed I'm using them a lot more than I probably should be. Medications are still the same. I'm on the antibiotic, I've got the heavy pain med, I've got the ibuprofen, and I've got the Zofran for the nausea. I've stopped the Zofran since, but my husband's got this cute little schedule. And if any of you are going through this, I highly recommend having your husband or whoever you live with create this little schedule. It's been really nice not having to worry about when I'm supposed to take what med. He just does it for me, and it's kind of like my little own in-home nurse. So overall, today's been great. I'm trying to get some vitamin D right now. I've been just like laying around on the couch. I'm feeling a lot more active today, and we'll update again tomorrow. I have my follow-up next week. Forgot to mention that I'm not allowed to shower for I think he said the first 3 days. Today's day 3. I'm really greasy and gross and cannot wait to shower. Last time with the mastectomy, I couldn't shower for 10 days before the drains came out. So I'm really ready to take my first shower now. Okay, I don't know, surgery was Monday, today's Thursday. So whatever that equates to. Today has been not good. I feel like I was on the up and up yesterday and things were feeling great, and then today is a big slump. I don't know, I'm just very tired. I have been sleeping all day. I feel like that's all I want to do. I'm also really nauseous again today, which is weird, but also super constipated from all the meds. So I think that is really messing me up. My stomach hurts so bad. I have tried all the natural remedies, and then I finally tried an over-the-counter thing, and nothing's moving. So I'm just hoping that's all it is, and just really blah today. I cannot wait to take a shower tomorrow. I think that will help me immensely. And pain-wise though, pain has not been bad at all. And as a matter of fact, I've been tapering off of the heavy stuff, which I'm wondering how much of this is side effects of tapering. I know that stuff can be super addictive, and so I'm wondering if me tapering off is producing some kind of side effects. I'm also on the really strong antibiotic that is messing with my skin really bad already. But again, all things that I'm experiencing now are a bazillion times better than cancer, so I can't really complain. Just a quick little update. Things are so much better. As you can see, I'm actually getting ready to leave the house. I actually left the house once already today, before I took my first shower, which was amazing. My daughter went to culinary camp and I wanted to go to drop her off this morning. So that was my first time out of the house, and I just took my mastectomy pillow with me in the car, and it was fine. Honestly, even the little bumps in the road didn't bother me too much. If you saw my update yesterday was a really rough day. So I was really happy to wake up this morning and feel better. Things still are not moving along like I wish they would, but that's okay. I'm not as nauseous today, and overall pain, I haven't even taken a Tylenol today, nothing. I feel really good. So took a few pictures after the shower just to get an idea of where things are lying after this surgery. And again, if you ever want to see any of the before and afters, just go to my Instagram and I can message through there. It's the only platform that doesn't remove my messages. But yeah, overall, I baked cupcakes with my 3-year-old, and just trying to stay hydrated and remembering to eat. And but yeah, everything looks good. I took a real good look after the shower today, and my lefty is still slightly lower than the right, which is really annoying because that was the whole point of this surgery, was to even things up. But because they're bigger implants, it's not as noticeable. So I'm trying not to be picky. I'm trying to be grateful. The other thing too is I am completely off all of the pain meds. I don't know if they're responsible for the stomach issues, or it's the antibiotics or the anesthesia or what, but it is not worth it. I would rather be in pain. So stopped all that, and honestly things have been fine. My little armpit areas where he lipoed are still really sore, and I still got my binder on, just keeping everything in. But other than that, I feel really great today.
So we are 6 days post-op today. Tomorrow will be 1 week. I am feeling great. I am still not driving, but that's just because I'm not supposed to lift my arms really, so it's more of a safety thing. I am off all of the pain medication. I am taking the antibiotics right now, which are producing a little bit of side effects that are annoying, but nothing outrageous. Still sleeping elevated on the couch just because of the swelling and stuff. I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to be sleeping, so I'm just sleeping elevated on the couch, although I feel like I could go in my bed. Follow-up appointment is on Wednesday. That's where I'll ask all of the questions about what I'm able to do versus what I'm not able to do. And then I assume we will start talking at that appointment as well about getting my nipple tattoos done. So I'll continue to post update videos. If you're going through this process, if you have any questions, or if you just need somebody to talk to, please reach out to me. You can message me on any of the platforms. I try to respond same day. Hope this was helpful, and I will see you back soon.